Hey everyone, welcome to the Guiding You Forward podcast presented by Mountain America Credit Union, where we talk about all things financial related. And today we're talking all about fraud. And thankfully, Rob is with us. Hi, Rob.
Hi, Kristalina.
And to all of you, stick around because we're going to talk about Rob's top 5 tips for avoiding fraud this holiday season. But before we get into it, hit that notification bell, subscribe to our channel so you can get all of our awesome content. And with that being said, Rob, we're coming into the holidays. Finally,
Yes.
We've made it.
Yes, we have.
We're so excited. Why is fraud so much more prevalent during the holidays?
Well, it's one of those things where people spend more money during the holidays. They're looking for gifts. They're looking for deals. And so it's just like one of those things that fraudsters like to take advantage of. So
During the holidays, do the different types of fraud come up, or is it basically the same things that fraudsters are doing throughout the year?
You know, that's a great question, Kristalina. And it's not so much that we're seeing a large variety or change in fraud. It's usually a higher volume of fraud during the holidays. And it's the same things that we always see, but with a holiday flavor.
Okay.
The fraud is more festive.
All right. Can you give us an example of what that might look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, there's the old adage, everyone's heard, if it sounds too good to be true, it usually is.
Yes.
And that applies year round. But during the holidays, the fraudsters like to use that hook of, you know, trying to find that present or trying to find that good deal or trying to find that, you know, happy Christmas that's going to make that one thing that's going to make Christmas or the holidays special, right? So they'll use that hook and they'll put those advertisements out on social media and those types of things to really try to get people to bite on these deals that are really too good to be true.
Okay.
And so what happens is you see an ad on social media that's got this really great price on this camera or this Apple Watch or this iPhone or whatever it is.
Right.
And the problem, what usually happens is that the link in that social media post directs you to a website it's not like your Best Buy and, you know, your big box retailers. It's some obscure website that's offering this great deal on this consumer electronic. And what happens is when you input your payment information, they either don't send you what you ordered or they send you a counterfeit item of what you ordered or a broken item of what you ordered.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And then when you try to dispute it or try to get your money back, they'll say, oh, well, you know, can I give you back half of your money? Or can I give you back, you know, can I give you 15% off your next order or anything to not get your money, to give you your money back? The problem is that even if you do get your money back, your payment information has now been compromised and it can be sold on the black market and then used for unauthorized transactions.
Okay.
So really keep an eye out for those offers that are too good to be true because they usually are and they usually don't wind up the way you think they're going to wind up.
All right. Well, dang it. We just all want the free stuff, Rob.
Well, yeah. And speaking of free stuff, that's another thing that to keep an eye out for during the holiday season is a lot of even legitimate companies will use free offers to reel people in.
Yeah.
But the thing is that you need to realize is you got to watch the fine print because a lot of times they'll offer you something for free or you only have to pay shipping and handling. But then in the fine print, they enroll you for a subscription to their service, whatever it is. So you think that you're getting a facial cream and you're just getting a sample and all you're paying for is shipping and handling. And oh, by the way, they threw in a free, you know, digital watch or whatever the little tchotchke is. Well, in the fine print, they say that by getting this free sample, if you don't cancel within 30 days, that you're enrolled in a monthly subscription for this facial cream. And then next month rolls around and you're being charged $80 for this facial cream that you didn't realize that you subscribed to.
Okay.
So if that happens to one of our viewers, what they need to do is contact their financial institution so that they can explain what's happened, explain to the financial institution what's happened, and then they can help them work through the process to dispute those charges and to make a recovery in that regard.
Okay.
But prevention is always the best solution. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So if you read that fine print up front, you'll save yourself a lot of time and hassle. So beware of those too good to be true, free trial, free product offers, because they just can result in a lot of headaches.
Okay, that's really good to know. So what else, aside from too good to be true offers, obviously reading the fine print, making sure we're purchasing things off of verified websites.
Yep.
What else should we be watching out for?
So be watching out for sellers that are requesting unusual payment methods.
Okay.
So if somebody's asking for, your credit card or your debit card, that's pretty standard stuff, especially at a merchant that
Right.
when you would buy something online. And you have certain protections when you use your credit card if you don't get what you ordered or it's counterfeit or things like that. So using your debit card or your credit card, particularly one that's branded with one of the major credit card brands, is usually what I would consider a regular payment method.
Okay.
But when you have a seller that's requesting something like a gift, they want to be paid in gift cards or prepaid cards, or they want to be paid by a wire transfer, or they want to be paid by a cashier's check, that is not a usual form of payment. And that's where I would be very wary as a consumer, because once you make that payment via that unusual method, cashier's check, wire transfer, what have you, that money's gone. You can't go back and say, oh, I didn't get my product, so, give me back my cashier's check, or, reverse that wire transfer. Those types of payments are the same as handing cash to someone. So maybe a good thing for our viewers to do would be to say, would I hand somebody cash in this circumstance? So would I give someone $500 with the promise that they were going to give me ship me a TV?
Right.
Probably not.
Right.
It might be if if it was somebody that you trusted, but not from just any old online transactions.
Sure.
So that's something to be aware of. If you find a seller that's requesting unusual forms of payment.
Okay. Now, with the pandemic comes lots of wonderful supply chain issues.
Yes.
So what do we need to be aware of? Obviously, we may not be getting all of those amazing holiday gifts that we were hoping to get.
Yep.
What do we need to watch out for there?
So this is where what we talked about at the very beginning. I think this is the one that I'm expecting to see the most of this holiday season.
Okay.
Because I suspect that there will be a lot of fraudsters trying to leverage the supply chain shortage for highly desirable items during this holiday season that they don't have. So this is where the too good to be true. I can't find this particular consumer electronic anywhere, but yet here's this social media post that says, hey, I've got an in-stock, electronic device, insert blank here, and, it's ready to ship. And if you pay me via cashier's check or wire transfer or gift card, I'll get that shipped out to you today. One of the things that I expect to be exploited the most in this type of scenario is person-to-person payment platforms.
Okay.
And so I'd like your viewers to be very, very cautious about using those person-to-person payment platforms to buy things from people, particularly highly desirable items, whether that's a service, like maybe it's tickets to a game. We see it quite frequently with puppies for some reason. And I expect that will probably go through the holiday season with these hard to find items.
Okay, interesting. So I just want you to explain a little further. You mentioned you find it with puppies?
Yes.
Give me this example. What is going on?
So this is the situation. So there's lots of dog lovers, and I'm sure we have lots of dog lovers among our viewers.
Yes.
And frequently it's not so much with rescue animals, but we see it quite frequently with the different breeds and the pure breeds or the different mixes that are popular nowadays. And so, someone will go out looking for a particular type of dog, a particular breed of dog, and they'll start corresponding with someone who says that they have this particular breed of dog and that they want, for example, a down payment to hold a puppy. And so you send your down payment via one of these person-to-person payment platforms, and then, you don't hear from the person again and they never give you the puppy, or maybe they say maybe even go and see the puppy, but then you pay through these person-to-person payment platforms, and there's no way to then get that money back if you don't get what you ordered, or in this case, the puppy. So for whatever reason, we see it quite frequently with puppies and the person-to-person payment platforms.
Yeah, how interesting.
So,
but something to watch out for, because who doesn't love opening a box with a puppy in it on your favorite holiday morning?
Yes, absolutely. So that's something to be very, very cautious of.
Okay.
Unusual payment methods, and in particular, those person-to-person payment platforms.
Okay. What else do we need to watch out for, Rob?
So we've talked before about the codes that you get to verify yourself to someone, right? And they're becoming very, very common through multiple different websites, through multiple different services. They are called multi-factor authentication.
And that keeps us safe, right?
That keeps us safe, right? Okay. So you log into something and they say, we're going to send you a one-time password or a one-time PIN to the number that we have on file. You get that number, you input it into the website, and then you get into whatever it is you're logging into. Well, more and more fraudsters are trying to get around those one-time PINs by socially engineering a conversation with someone or an interaction with someone.
Okay.
And so the way that looks is that they will try to contact you and tell you that they need to verify you with a one-time PIN, when in reality, their buddy that's sitting next to them is talking to somebody else on the phone that's generating that PIN, the legitimate organization or entity, right?
Right.
So that's what we really need to be careful of. We've seen what's becoming more popular now is that fraudsters are using these one-time PINs so that they can enroll other people's phone numbers in voice over IP services. Interesting. So let me explain how that works. So let's say you post something for sale on a classified website. Yeah. So, your Craigslist or what have you, and you're trying to get a little extra money for the holidays. So you post your contact information so that people that are interested can buy your thing that you're trying to sell. Well, you get contacted by somebody that says, I'm really interested in the antique hutch that you're selling, but I'm afraid you might be a fraudster. So I want to send you a code so that I can prove that you're not a fraudster. They don't really explain how a code proves that you're not a fraudster, but let's go with it, right? So then if you respond to that and say, okay, well, I'm not a fraudster, I've got nothing to hide, go ahead and send me your code. So you get a code and it comes from Google, and Google says, here's your one-time PIN, and you provide that to the other person. Well, what he or she has done, the fraudster has done, is they've actually enrolled your phone number in Google Voice. And that one-time PIN was sent by Google to enroll your phone number to prove that you were the owner of that phone number, but you now just gave that code to somebody else. So now they enter it into the Google website, and now they have registered your phone number to use in Google Voice. And now they can use your phone number to commit fraud and to deceive other people.
Okay, interesting. So what I'm learning from this is anyone that asks us to give them our code is a no-go.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And you've hit the nail right on the head, Kristalina, is that if anybody contacts you, there is no reason for them to give you a code to verify yourself, because ostensibly they've contacted you at the number you gave them.
Right.
So whether it's your financial institution or somebody that you're selling something to, they're contacting you at the number you gave them. Okay. So there's no reason for them to verify you. All right. Does that make sense?
Yes. Really, we should be verifying them.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. You're absolutely right.
Interesting. Okay. That's a good thing to look out for. Anything else?
So this is one of those oldies but goodies.
All right.
So we would be remiss if we didn't mention this. We remind our viewers to be very, very cautious about clicking on links that are sent to them in text messages or emails.
Okay.
There's a lot of legitimate reasons to send somebody a link in a text or an email. However, it is something that is very, very commonly exploited and can create a lot of headache and mess.
Yeah.
So if you get a text message or an email with a link, it's always a best practice to open up your web browser and go directly to that URL from your browser, as opposed to taking the link. Now, if you had it saved on a bookmark, that's great.
Yeah.
But if taking a link through an email or a text it's a high risk operation. So best practice would be just to go to that website directly.
Okay. All right. We'll do that. Anything else that we need to watch out for?
Yes. The last thing that I have to share with you is with regards to fake charities.
Oh,
And
no.
this is one that always comes up. And again, it's something that fraudsters like to exploit a little more heavily during the holidays because we're in a more charitable mood. We were in a giving mood.
Yeah.
And so be very, very cautious about when you get solicitations for donations, particularly on social media, or links through emails and text messages, because you might get an email that appears to be from a legitimate charity or a charity that you've donated to in the past, but really it's taking you to a fake website that's going to compromise your information and create problems. So in particular with fake charities, be wary of those links, and also do your due diligence on those charities, because you may think that you're donating to a very worthy cause, but in reality, that money is going to a not so worthy source. So if you haven't vetted the charity and verified that it's a legitimate charity and a worthwhile charity, I'd be cautious about donating to it.
Okay. And I agree that, some of my favorite holiday memories are the ones where I've taken the time to give, right? I think that's where we all feel like we're trying to make that difference, right?
Yeah.
And help others. But very interesting that fraudsters are onto that now as well.
Yeah, it's a shame that really in the mind of the fraudsters, there's really nothing that's sacred. So there is nothing that they will not exploit to try to take advantage of others. So
Yeah.
we just want to remind all of your viewers that the onus is on us to protect ourselves, to be diligent, and to watch out.
So now that we know kind of those 5 things to watch out for,
Yeah.
what are the things that we just should not do when it comes to fraud?
So whether it's the holiday season or not, the things that I want your viewers to remember always is, first, there is no legitimate reason to give out your username and password to anything, to anyone.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter what it is. It could be your username and password to your Facebook account, to your social media accounts, to your email accounts. It could be your username and password to your rewards website. It doesn't matter. There is no legitimate reason to give out your username and password to anyone for any reason. So that's number one.
Okay. So even if the company reaches out to me and says, "Hey, we need to verify your password,"
Yeah. No.
that's not legit.
No, that's not legit.
Okay.
There's no legitimate reason why a company would reach out to you and say, "Hey, we need your password to something at our company."
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So, second thing is there is no legitimate reason for someone to send you money and then ask you to send it somewhere else.
Okay.
So we see this quite commonly with scams, where whether it's a romance scam or a lottery winning scam or an inheritance scam, the fraudster will contact somebody and say, "Hey, in order to get your winnings, you need to pay the taxes on your winnings or the taxes on your inheritance, or as part of a secret shopper, we need you to go to a wire transfer location and send a wire transfer, and here's the money." Doesn't matter what it is. It could be all kinds of different flavors, but when you boil it down to the most important thing, I want your viewers to remember that there is no legitimate reason for someone to send them money and then ask them to send it somewhere else.
Okay. Okay. So those are our two big no's.
Those are our two big no's. Those are the two big no-nos. We want more ho-hos and not no-nos.
We're putting that in. We are putting that in. Okay, well, you guys heard it from the master himself, Rob. Thank you again for joining us today and teaching us all the things we need to watch out for when it comes to fraud during the holidays. And thanks to each of you for joining as well. Be sure to subscribe to our channel, hit that notification bell, and we will see you on the next episode of Guiding You Forward.